Right, we're going to now move on to the next sabbatical position of Academic Affairs Officer before we move to a break. Standing for this position are the following candidates: Sean Dolat, Imad Imi Farmus and Ron. Reopen nominations if you'd like to come to the front. If you'd like to ask these two candidates any questions, make sure you give them to Michael now. We will be closing questions for those shortly, but there's still time to get those in. And of course for the Media and Entertainment Officer as well. This is Hustings Live in Student Central and on Ram Air. As with all the other positions, each candidate will get a 2-minute opening speech. We will then have the questions to all candidates and then a 1-minute closing speech. Sean Dolat, you'll be going first with your opening speech, and your 2 minutes start right about now.
Hi, my name is... Let me this up. My name is Sean Dolat. I'm a third-year historian, studying at Bradford, obviously. Firstly, I'll just start off, what is the position of academic affairs and what does it entail exactly? If elected, my job will basically be to sort of make sure you're getting the academic welfare that you guys deserve and to make sure that the quality of education for you is the same as all the other students too. Next really I'm just going to go for my policies and everything that I plan to do if I get elected. I'll try to do as much as I can before Phil stops me. Where should I start? Firstly, one thing that I really want to do is make sure that more exam-orientated subjects get feedback on those exams, students get feedback on them. That's one thing that I think really needs to be improved on. Also, at the moment, as some of you may be aware, if you don't attend an exam or you miss a deadline, you pay a £100 fine. It was a £250 fine, but it was reduced by the current sabbatical. But considering the tuition fee rise in 2012, I do think it's a bit unfair that you're paying this along with this fine if you fail. Okay, I've got more time. Also, I want to make sure that if you feel that you're going to miss a deadline for an exam or for coursework, that you know exactly what the mitigating circumstances guideline is, and that really isn't the case at the moment. There's other lectures I'll quickly try and get in. Lectures, there are some scenarios where some students feel that lectures care more about their work than they do about supervising them. I get that. I've got that quite a lot on the campaign. If elected, I will try to sort that out, because I don't believe that we all pay the same amount of tuition fees, and I don't believe that some students in some subjects
2 minutes. Okay, that was the opening speech there for Sean Dolat, for Academic Affairs Officer. Next person to speak will be the other candidate for the position, that's Imad Imi Farmus. Your 2 minutes opening speech starts about now.
My name is Imad Imi Farmus, and I am the credible candidate for this position. Right, so, the other day I was out here in Student Central. I was by these sofas here, and there was a girl, sort of, really, really distressed. She was crying, she was unhappy. I went up to her as a sabbatical and asked, "What's up? Can I help?" And this girl spews to me how she was a placement student, one of our students here on a placement, and she had a run-in with her manager whilst on this placement. This girl tells me that this manager had been abusing her, sort of welfare-wise, wasn't helping her. He kept saying that she was arriving late, giving her really bad reviews. So she told him she was going to complain to the university. By the time she got back here, her manager had already called and told her supervisor numerous lies, absolutely numerous lies, and got her thrown off her module. Where was her union? Where was the support? She'd been referred to the advice centre. Jesus Christ. She'd been referred to the advice centre.
1 minute.
But no one helped. Well, if you elect me, I don't play the political game. I'm somebody who will be here, has always been here, when I've been doing my sabbatical year, here till 11-12, working. I'll do the casework. I'll make sure that students are always put first, that I'm not in always university meetings, but when students have issues at the SSLCs, when course reps have issues to raise, they can contact me and I will follow them up. I'll make sure that with your £3,000 fees, what you pay now, they include printing, they include your module handbooks, and if you're in the sciences, it will include your lab coat as well. This isn't stuff that I'm making up, this is stuff that can be delivered, not some empty promises. Thank you.
Okay, you've heard the opening speeches for the candidates for Academic Affairs Officer, the Sean Dolat, Imad Imi Farmus, and of course Ron. Reopen nominations. We're now going to take questions to all candidates, which Michael has kindly handed to me after he disappeared off on important election business. If you would like to hand in a question, though, you can still give them to Michael, or if you're listening at home on Ramair, you can email it to studio@ramair.co.uk or text the word Ramair, then your question to 60300. Standard rate applies. Right, the first question is, what single project will you dedicate most time to? And Imi, if you could answer that one first, please.
That's a hard one. Single project. Dear Lord. I mean, I think the obvious answer that most people would give is the fees. Is, well, we have this triple rise in fees, we need to mitigate for them. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say that we have countless issues at this university already. I'll tell you what I will spend my time on. I'll tell you what I'll spend my time on. Third year, okay? All of you will have dissertations. Every single one of you has to do it. It's worth about 30, 40 credits. In my school, 60. Okay? In what's it called? Peace Studies, SSIS. The amount of support you get in the third year is excellent. You will not believe the amount of support they give these students. They're taken very good care of. Students in engineering, design and technology, they get naff all. Sometimes the lecturers don't get in touch with them. Their supervisors tell them go do it and leave them to it. This is wrong. How is that fair in a university such as Bradford, where you're paying this amount of money and you're not getting the same level of support? It's easier to get a 2-1 or a first when you have this level of support. So that's what I dedicate my time to, making sure third year supervision is equal and good across all schools.
And Sean, if you could answer that question, what single project will you dedicate most time to?
Well, I agree with the point that you can't... I mean, there's so many issues that really are equal to each other, really. Tuition fees, yeah, it's a massive one. Unfortunately, I mean, me or Imi get in, it would be impossible to reverse the current rise that's already been passed in Parliament. That's already happened. That doesn't mean that I won't work with students, just on this point, tuition fees, and other students, to try and either campaign with other universities and try keep the pressure on, or maybe even keep tuition fees on the agenda still, either during this Parliament or if another election takes place and afterwards. So yeah, tuition fees is one really, really major point. Apart from that, it's quite... It could be exam-based. There's several points where I've heard, and I've been discussing this in the union as well, as I mentioned on my 2 minutes opening speech, no feedback on exams. I also think there is a major issue as well in terms of postgrad representation of the union. Maybe that would be the #1 thing actually that hasn't been really pushed through by anyone. I think what people don't often realise is that we have obviously quite a strong postgrad presence here, but we always expect ourselves to make the initiative and approach them. But unlike undergraduates, unlike most of us here, these guys are more likely to have dependents, they're more likely to have a busier lifestyle. And I really think it's important because we don't really have much representation for them at all. And I really think that there's so many issues, to be honest, but that would be one of the major ones. I wish I could answer more for that and other issues, but no.
Right, you're listening answers to questions for those standing for Academic Affairs Officer. Don't forget, if you've got any questions for candidates, please give them to Michael if you're here in Student Central on the Union Mall, or if you're listening at home, email to studio@ramair.co.uk. Please remember this is also a live broadcast going out on radio, so please keep your curses to a minimum, thank you. Going to the next question, what would you do to ensure that we do not have to submit printed assignments, as this is costly and not environmentally friendly? Sean, if you could answer that one firstly, please.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, there are reasons that this occurs, but there definitely needs to be some effort on behalf of, I think, the union as a whole, to sort of make sure that this isn't the case, because I think, as you all are well aware, at the end of each semester, semester 1, semester 2, there is a lot of paperwork going in. I think all subjects are 2 copies each. I will work, even if I'm elected on Friday, even if I win on Friday, I'll work with the uni before September anyway to see if I can find a way, if I do get in the next academic year, to try sort this problem out, because it really isn't, not in the 21st century, when the environment is so much more of a sort of apparent issue. So yeah, no, that's definitely something I'd resolve, and it's really quite unacceptable anyway.
And Amy, if you can answer that one, please.
Okay. How do I put this? Right. At the end of the day, we need to realize something. This university is first and foremost an academic institution. Sensibility before ecoversity. I have a massive problem with this, I really do. When I hear about students not getting module handbooks because of ecoversity, go print it off. When people are saying, go print off your lecture notes because of ecoversity, man, it really winds me up. In terms of students not submitting things in paper form, man, I don't think that's ever going to happen. I don't see the logic behind it. You always submit something via Turnitin, and you always hand in a paper copy. This is to protect the student as well as the lecturer. So you always have 2 references or 2 points of reference, what's been handed in. However, to say that we need to put ecoversity above sensibility in terms of academia, I think that's a horrendous idea and is unbelievably wrong. Cheers.
Okay, the next question. Why do you feel this is the role for you rather than any of the other sabbatical positions? And Imi, if you could answer that one firstly, please.
Why do I feel this is the role for me? Well, let's look at the track record. Since September, no, forget that, since June, I've been leading. Since June, I have sat on disciplinary panels for students. I have seen what the university says about our students. I've seen the policies. I understand how it works. I know for a fact, disproportionately, the number of plagiarism cases towards black and ethnic minority students and international students are much higher than anyone else. Does this tell us that, black students or ethnic minority students are more likely to cheat? I didn't cheat. It tells us that the system is flawed. So this got me really, really worked up, and I was looking at the policies. So that's the first one. Secondly, I really got involved in the fees movement. From a grassroots level, not signing petitions or anything, but actually being on the ground with my students. Being there in London on both cases. When students wanted to occupy, it was my car that opened the door. I put my neck on the line with our students, and that's what I realized. So, why do I want to do this? Well, we need a fairer deal. We need to make sure that we get the best out of this university and the best out of academia. I want to make sure that every penny you spend is justified. That you're not fobbed off for, go print it off online or go look it up online. That's given to you. You're able to access things easier. But more than anything, I want to do this because I really do feel I can actually achieve something here. It's a crucial year for higher education. This isn't the time to be taking chances, and I'm not the candidate you'll be taking a chance with. Thank you.
Okay, I'd just like to go back because I don't think I asked Sean the previous question, did I? Yeah. Did I? Yeah, this is it. No one. Okay, well, answer this following question. Why do you feel this is a role for you rather than any of the other sabbatical positions?
Okay, the reason why I chose the position of academic affairs is because out of all the other sabbatical positions and the part-time positions, it's the position that really sort of is close to my heart and my interests. It's the most politics-orientated, and I really feel that out of all the positions, I can really sort of dedicate myself to representing the student body, which is in this university 12 to 15,000 students. So for one point, it's that sort of desire to really represent a mass group of people and deliver for them, combined with my talents, which I think I already have anyway. And another reason why I stood for the position of academic affairs is because I've had quite considerable experience, either grassroots-wise or working with the union. I mean, over the past 12 months, I organised a march for proportional representation, sort of a Bradford constituency to join the Leeds one. I organised that myself. Since September, I've worked with the union. I went to the NUS organised demo. While a lot of people, I think some of them are here actually, were in the occupation, I was with the current academic affairs sabbatical along with 2 others. One of them's here now. We went to local schools in Bradford East, which is the current Liberal Democrat MP. We went around local schools, we went to Leicester Dyke, Hanson School. We did that for several days on the ground, trying to get signatures and comments from students. I mean, we ended up getting over 500, and this was leading up to the vote on tuition fee. So we did loads. And then this ended up going on to me and the current academic affairs sabbatical, just me and him, getting the train down to London on the day of the vote to actually present this petition in the Houses of Parliament to the Liberal Democrat MP, David Wards. Which was a major success that we managed to do, along with actually a lot of the peace studies students and others who did do the occupation and managed to really beef up the profile and the local news as well, which is fantastic. So the tuition fees experience that I've had working with the union and my sort of political activist and desires that I've had for quite a long time, I think makes me really, really, really suitable for the job. And I wouldn't have chosen to stand for this position unless I really felt that I could be the best candidate and do a really good job for a whole year, next year.
Okay. You're listening to Answers to Questions to Candidates for the Academic Affairs Officer. If you have any more, we'll be closing questions very shortly so we can get through these and then move on to the final position of the evening. But the next question is, what do you want to see cut to keep the library open all hours? Sean, if you'd like to answer that one firstly, please.
Do there have to be cuts to keep the library open all the time? God, well, it's difficult because, I mean, the major concern that, well, one of them, there's been quite a lot that I've seen on the campaign trail and beforehand, is library opening hours, School of Management and the library here on campus. What would I cut? I mean, it would have to be a discussion that I'd have to have either with the union and other people here at the university. I mean, I'm not a sabbatical. I mean, I've had a lot of experience and I've really got majorly involved with the union. But I would need to work out and work with other people because I am representing you guys. This really is not benefiting. To work with you guys and to try and work out what would be the best way to keep the library open, because I really do think that's essential. But it would depend what we would be cutting to keep it open. So I'd have to know the priorities before I could really give you an answer on that, because it really wouldn't be fair. So. And
Amy, if you can answer that question, what do you want to see cut to keep the library open all hours?
Cheers. I always have a problem with this idea that, because I don't actually understand it, I don't think that to grow something, cutting is the right way to go. I think if you want to grow something, you need to do the opposite. To keep the library going, 24 hours, which is one of my core things, it's in my manifesto, I strongly believe the library should always be 24 hours. I think we need to become more efficient. Working as a sabbatical this year, you've noticed a lot of things, and one of the problems with this university, we have a few too many steps in trying to do something. Whenever a student tries to get, let's say, to a room or try to book out a certain space or try to do something, there are about 7 or 8 different things that they need to do, and some of these things, they're just repeats of other steps. The way to do it, we cut down on this administration, we make sure that processes are a lot more streamlined. So we won't be cutting staff, but what we will be doing is cutting hours or wasted time where people can be a lot more productive. That's my answer.
Okay, the next question. How do you propose to include the often overlooked postgraduates in matters affecting the union? How do you propose to include the often overlooked postgraduates in matters affecting the union? Imi, if you could answer that firstly, please.
As Sean said earlier, we have a lot of research going on campus. We really do. We have a lot of PhD students, we have a lot of MScs, we have a lot of MAs. I think there's already been a really positive step this year with the British Science Festival being held at Bradford for the first time. This is a huge thing. So look at ways of where we can actually promote the research and promote the work they do. These guys spend hours in the labs. Some of them are paying like tens of thousands of pounds just to be here to study. So they obviously have this amazing passion for the work they do. So I want to give them a chance to showcase this, give them a chance to shout about it, and for us to learn from it. I mean, I'm a biomed. There are some things happening in some of the labs upstairs that are just incredible, and I'd love to learn about them. So to give them a chance to sort of showcase their work, and I'll bring them into the union, and they'll feel part of it, I hope. Cheers.
And Sean, could you answer that question, please?
Yeah, well, I sort of gave you quite a sort of an answer to that question earlier, but I think really it's all about, again, I said this earlier, but taking the initiative with them and engaging with them. I think Imi said what I would say anyway, and
My idea.
well, hang on a minute. No, I mean, I think I gave you an answer for that anyway earlier. So just us taking the initiative to engage with them, and then work from there, really.
Okay. Next question for the candidates for Academic Affairs Officers. How are your political views going to affect your ability to be a union SAB? Sean, if you could go for that one firstly.
I'm a mad, raving left-wing communist. No, that's not true. My political views, well, I've always been sort of centre-left, moderate left-wing anyway. I think it's quite important, my political views, when it comes to the position of academic affairs. Can I move this up? I mean, this is really sort of... Yeah, I should put it out.
Feel free.
I feel like a sort of... How do you do it? I feel yeah. Yeah, I think it is quite important for the position of academic affairs, not media and events or sports and societies, but academic affairs, mainly for tuition fees. I'm not sure if Imi's sort of well, I'm sure he's against the rise in tuition fees, but yeah, I mean, I've always believed that higher education should be funded through general taxation, and if not that, some sort of graduate tax idea, but certainly not tuition fees. It is possible. And I do believe that, I mean, it'd be difficult for me to do anything about that in particular. But yes. My political views, yeah, I mean, I class myself as a sort of social democrat, democratic socialist, and I think my views, usually students in general, are quite left-wing anyway, especially some peace study students, in fact. But yeah, no, I don't think it would really affect it to the degree that I wouldn't be able to work with people of other political views at all. But having that sort of political basis that I do, and maybe Imi does as well, yeah, it's very good and very beneficial for academic affairs, yeah.
Okay, Imi, how are your political views going to affect your ability to be a union SAB?
Centre left, centre right, right left, forward back. Man, I strongly disagree with you, this one, man. I think, I was asked this question last year, it was about religion. I'm going to give it the same answer. You keep your political opinions at home, man. Academic affairs, I think it's a dangerous concept, bringing political ideology into it. I mean, as I was speaking about the student earlier, do you think she cares about the politics? I know students here who don't own computers. I really do. And it's not actually a laughing matter. You know, students in actual hardship, why would they care? Man, politics doesn't come into it. What does come into it is delivering a service. It's the ideology I brought into media and ends. I didn't go about it looking at, you know, political ideas or campaigning for certain things. The way I tackled it was, I'm here to perform an operation. Students have these issues, I'm going to tackle them. So, yeah, politics is nice. It's nice to debate things, and I think that's a place for societies. But within the SU, I really don't like the idea of it being a political organization. It should be focused at delivering a service to students.
Okay, you're listening to answers to questions to candidates for the Academic Affairs Officer. Don't forget you can also download these later to listen back. I don't know whether there'll be a free F&D ticket for the first person to turn the opening answer of that into a dance record, I'm not sure. Right, next question. Where do you draw the line between students' academic affairs and students of national politics? Imi, if you'd like to go for that one. Firsty, please. Where do you draw the line between students' academic affairs and students of national politics?
There is no line. That thing is like in that corner over there, and academic affairs are here. You should never mix the two. When we're talking about fees or increases in fees, you don't need a political opinion to see that this is, I can't swear, this is crap. It doesn't make sense. You don't need to be centre-left or anything to understand that trebling fees is a very bad idea and isn't going to help any student unless you're very rich. So this idea of politics needing to be involved, as I said earlier, I'm really against. Where do you draw the line? Politics, again, let's keep it outside. If people want to debate ideas, if people want to talk about their political philosophies, that's great. We have a platform here. But for academic affairs, when we're delivering a service, and this is what it needs to be, especially this year, we need to get out of this mindset that we're pseudo-politicians or something. We need to negotiate and get ourselves the best possible deal for next year and the upcoming years. Cheers.
And Sean, could you answer that question, please?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I don't believe that politics should be the primary focus in any position, or sabbatical position at the university. I think like the question that you asked previously about what your political views and if it will influence your position, well, I guess it does, but I think it's the issues that influence my views. It's not just my views, it's not my political views that influence my position, if that's a better way of putting it. No, yeah, they are definitely separate, absolutely. And it's, of course, it's whatever, you know, whatever the issues are, and whatever students bring to me or whatever like that. That's what counts, of course. And yeah, there is a very fine line between it. And I don't think any sabbatical position, especially academic affairs, and anyone who succeeds should be driven sort of by either one, a political career, or political dogma. An ideology, no, and I don't think anyone suggests that anyway, so.
Right, questions for Academic Affairs Officer have now closed, but if you have any questions for Media and Entertainment Officer, which will follow this after a quick break, please get them to Michael or email them to studio@ramair.co.uk or text the word Ramair, then your question to 60300, standard rate applies. Next question for the candidates for Academic Affairs Officer. What experience, if any, do you have in representing a student body in relation to your degree course? If none, then what experience do you have that can be applied to this position? And Sean, could you go for that first?
Well, I haven't been an academic rep, so I haven't actually had an official position within the union. Again, I answered most of this question about the experience that I've had, in the last 12 months. I've had quite a lot. Sorry, can you ask the question again?
Yep.
Sorry, just a second.
What experience, if any, do you have in representing a student body in relation to your degree course? If none, then what experience do you have that can be applied to this position?
Oh no, I've had a fair experience working with people on my course, even though it's quite small, working with issues with them and trying to sort those issues out. But again, I haven't been an academic rep, but I have been involved when necessary, and I've taken quite an active role. Though it's not much. I mean, I do history. It's quite a small class, 20, I think. So, yeah. I think most of the experience that I've had has been through my own initiative, working with the university, actually, not just through a position which I've sort of had to sort of abide by and go to. Again, yeah, I told you earlier about what I did, the March for Voting Reform, the tuition fees debate. I've done loads of that, so there's no point me repeating that again, really. That's my experience.
Okay, Imi, and if you could go for that question, please.
Cheers, could you, what experience I have?
What experience, if any, do you have in representing a student body in relation to your degree course? If none, then what experience do you have that can be applied to this position?
Since day one, man. I was an academic rep in my first year. I was an academic rep in my second year. I was also a department rep. I still don't know what the heck that means. What I'll tell you is this. I've always been involved in the way the department works. I've raised a load of issues at the student staff liaison committees. The weird thing is, in my second year, I'm going to be brutally honest, after 2 meetings I stopped going. Why is that? Well, nothing was happening. There was no driving force. We'd report so many things. They wouldn't happen. We wanted more access to the labs. That wouldn't happen. We wanted our lecturers to be more enthusiastic. That didn't happen. We tried. Nothing was happening. So what experience do I have? I'm great at complaining. I complain, with passion. I've always been seen in the boardroom here or on a protest. I'm never scared to say something that people don't want to say. This reflects in the new University Equality and Diversity Committee policy. I was very straightforward in saying, you know what, guys, you have a race problem here. You have students here who don't feel comfortable being able to approach their lecturers. There is no accountability for lecturers when students feel that they've been discriminated against. I brought that up. So, yeah, I've got the experience. I will raise anything that I feel needs to be raised or my students feel that needs to be raised. I've taken part in every kind of protest or occupation you can think of. I've taken part in every kind of meeting, good or bad. So, yeah, I've done it all. Kind of. Cheers.
Okay, the next question for those standing for the position of Academic Affairs. What have you done for the campaign against tuition fees and university cuts, and what are you planning to do? And Imi, you will tackle that one first, please.
Okay. Right. I'm not too sure what the dates these things happen, so I hope you guys bear with me. With the NUS March, which was sometime in November, I made sure that the union provided coaches. I made sure that we organised it well, that we went down there. When students occupied, and this was after the NUS March, or when students wanted to occupy, it was my student card that opened the door to D-Floor, and we put our necks on the line for that, man. But we did it. So that's also something I did. When students occupied, I made sure that we got food, and thanks to some people from NUS for supporting us here. I mean, it was fantastic. When students wanted to go down to London and march, I went down there with them. I didn't do anything else, like any flyering or any canvassing. I went down with them. When they were trapped in London, I was there with them. When they slept on the floor, I was with them. When they needed to get back home, I got them coaches home. When we didn't have enough seats, I stayed back in London and they got home first. So, yeah, that's what I've done since whatever date that was. Cheers.
And Sean, could you answer that question as well, please?
Yeah, again, I might as well actually repeat it now. Well, I've done a lot, as I've said. I did, while all the peace study students were doing, their fair bit with the occupation, I was doing a lot of the grassroots, a lot of the hard work, day in, day out, going to schools with the current academic affairs sabbatical, talking to students, talking to sixth formers, getting their messages, getting their signatures. Going on, like Imi, I went to the two demos, one being the NUS one, and the second one being the one where everyone got kettled. Though, because obviously I went to see the MP for to deliver the petition, I didn't get kettled, thankfully. Again, that's it, man.
Okay, the next question. You both talk about issues you wish to tackle. Can you please explain how you intend to solve these issues? Please use details. And Sean, could you go for that one first?
I think one actually that comes to mind, and I've discussed this a lot with the union and a few of the sabbaticals actually, is and this is probably quite apparent for a lot of you guys who are in big lectures, which is behaviour in lectures. You probably think, again, how do you actually deal with this issue? Well, I mean, you seem to have a case where some lecturers are able to deal with certain classes and certain students much better than other lecturers, and it's quite unfair that, like, take me for instance. I mean, I'm in a small history class. I never had the issue of having bad behaviour, so that's never really been a problem. Yet you have some massive, science-based subjects with lots of students in them who pay the same amount of tuition fees as me, yet have to put up with noise, distractions, and what sort. So how would I do it? Well, again, I've talked to sabbaticals and other people in the union, and the best way to really go about this is to have some lecturers who can't really deal with this behaviour to have basic classroom management training, and that's what they've said. So you probably think, why at university level do you need this? But, well, some students are paying so much money to go here every year. Why should they have this issue still at 18, 19, 20, 21? It's really not on. So, that would be something I'll definitely be doing, and I'll be working with other sabbaticals as well.
Okay, and Imi, could you answer that question, please?
Could you repeat the question, Phil?
Yep, you both talk about issues you wish to tackle. Can you please explain how you intend to solve these issues? Please use details.
There's so many issues. I'll talk about the one that really angers me the most, which is this third-year provision thing. So I was just saying earlier, if you're in peace studies, you've got it made, your tutors, your lecturers are going to help you. If you're on engineering, design and technology, I'll name that school, I don't care, you're really in trouble if you're not self-sufficient and you can't really get your head down. So how would I tackle this? Well, I've already raised this problem with the university. It was at one of these disciplinary panels. There were two students. One of them was actually on peace studies, and the other one was on EDT, which is the School of Engineering, Design and Tech. They'd both been accused of plagiarism. One of them had been given every single opportunity to learn about plagiarism. This guy knew it all. He went to every module. His tutors gave them like little classes before they did their assignments. The other guy from EDT, nothing. He was a direct second-year entry. There was no plagiarism awareness. There was no help in how to do a literature review. And the worst thing, they didn't even tell them how to reference properly. They just said, oh, it's in the module handbook, go read it. I raised this as a problem. So I said, look, how is this fair? How can you give this student and that student the same sentence? It's not right. And it was noted. If I get in, this is something I'm going to follow up with vigor. And this is something you take up at a committee called Senate, which is the highest academic body of the university, where the Vice-Chancellor and all the other scary big people sit. And that's what I talk about, and make sure that this is done or put into effect as soon as possible. And that's my biggest priority at the moment, because I think, man, if you go into your third year and you don't have the support, it's not looking good. Cheers.
Okay, and we've got the final question now for candidates for academic affairs, and it's the crucial question that we've all been waiting all day for the answer to. It is, of course, what is your favourite jelly baby and why? Imi, would you like to explain that, please?
Very serious question. It would be the green jelly baby, because green is the colour of the environment and ecoversity and all goodness. Yeah, that's my answer. Good luck.
And Sean,
spin that.
What is your favourite jelly baby and why?
I don't eat jelly babies. I haven't eaten them for a while, though I guess my... Whoa! I guess my best flavour would be what my best flavour is for most sweets, and that's either red or black. I hope that's a satisfactory answer. Good.
So there we go. The crucial question answered there by both candidates standing for the Academic Affairs Officer. Those were questions to both candidates. We're now going to go to the summation speech, which is 1 minute. We'll then be going for a quick break, but onto that in a moment. So 1 minute summation speech, and Amy, you're going for that firstly, and your 1 minute starts now.
I believe, I feel, I think. These are words I've not used today. I really haven't. I know that this is the position for me. I know I'm the right candidate. I know I will deliver. I've delivered already on things that are academic, that aren't even in my permit. This is how much I care about this stuff. I know where this is going to go. I know that I can deliver. So I'm going to cut this short. I'm not going to ask you guys to vote for me because I think, well, it's good, but not enough. After this, if you guys support what I say, come talk to me and get involved with my campaign. Thank you.
That was the 1 minute summation speech there for Imad Imi Farmouse, standing for the Academic Affairs Officer. Now for the 1 minute summation speech from Sean Dolat. You've got 1 minute starting now.
Like Imi, I've said quite a lot about what I want to do. First of all, actually, let me get this out of the way. If you want to actually read my full manifesto, I've done more than a 250-word one. It's on Facebook. So if you want to look at that, that will save me a lot of time, and I don't have more than a minute. Look, I mean, the reason why I'm standing for this position is because I genuinely really feel passionate for it, and I really think I can do a great job. And I believe if I am elected, I can really dedicate myself and really give it the experience and the dedication that the job deserves. I guess that's all I can say at this point, but yeah.
Right, you've heard there the speeches and the questions and answers for the candidates for Academic Affairs Officer. They were Sean Dolat, Imad Imi Farmouse and Ron reopened nominations. Like all the candidates, you can see their manifestos, their notice of poll, their YouTube videos at ubuonline.co.uk/elections. You'll also be able to listen back on your MP3 player of choice to all the hustings later tonight, if that is your sort of thing on a Monday evening. Don't forget to pick up a manifesto booklet, also seeing the manifestos if you're here in Student Central, or look at them online. We're now going to go for a short break. When we return, we'll be tackling the final position for the evening, which will be Media and Entertainment Officer. Don't forget to get your questions into Michael Allhouse if you're here in Student Central, or to studio@ramair.co.uk if you're listening at home, or text Ramair, then your question to 60300. Standard rate applies. Don't forget to check online, check Facebook, check the website, check all sorts of things, our Twitter feed at #UBU Elections for all the latest information. We'll now have a 10-minute break before we come back for the final position.